Here's a chapter in my book, The Way Out of Self-Sabotage into Self-Mastery. It's called Be All You Can Be, Part 1.
Okay.
Be all you can be was the best advice Mr. Pena ever gave me. So let that simmer for a moment. The trillion-dollar man who, as far as I know, has all the stuff one could want, and then some. Keeping that in mind, Mr. Pena didn't tell me to have all you can have or do all you can do. Mr. Pena told me, be all you can be. Life isn't about having more. Life isn't about doing more. Life is about being more. You're not a human having. You're not a human doing. You're a human being. Be all you can be. And that's significant because I guess this is officially the first Artistic Warrior podcast that
Right.
you and I are doing. And one thing that it took me almost 35 years to realize is that you don't have to be one thing. You don't have to go an inch wide and a mile deep. You can go a mile wide and an inch deep.
Yep.
You can be a hospitality executive, professional football player, author, dad, husband, all of those things. And I think that's advice that isn't really given these days. Because, I mean, tycoons in business or whatever, they always talk about work-life balance being a myth. And I think that's maybe a little bit off track or where I was talking about there. But I disagree with that. I think it is about balance. And I think you can incorporate a lot of different aspects into your life because, well, let's face it, you're complex.
Right. So we talk, I mean, I don't, for the people that have been watching us previously, this is a great segue into leadership, and we've been talking a lot about leadership, but you and I have talked a lot about, the jack of all trades, the Renaissance man, that kind of thing. But why don't you delve more into what Artistic Warrior is? So, I mean, we both got our Artistic Warrior hats on, and this is, for lack of a better word, a true ministry.
Yeah.
But just to explain it in a couple of sentences, and then I'm going to, jump off of that, I think.
Yeah, Artistic Warrior is for the creative, capable man who feels like he's living a divided life. And whenever he's gone all in on any particular thing, that's actually been sabotaging to him in a way, shape, or form. And I can speak to that personally. Whenever I've tried to go all in on football, failed, self-sabotage. Whenever I tried to go all in on writing, failed, self-sabotage. Whenever I try to go all in on my work, business, provision, there's always something missing. I start to develop symptoms. I get sick. I'm moody, self-sabotage. So I think it's exactly what we were sort of touching on earlier, David, is that you can be creative, you can be capable, you can be strong, you can be soft, you can be sensitive, right? And I can even read a couple of chapters that's titled Artistic Warrior in the book there. But that's what it's about. And you touched on the word leadership, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about leadership. You're going to hear David and I talk about faith. You're going to hear us talk about fast food. You're going to hear us talk about training. You're going to hear us talk about writing. Like that's what this show is about. It's all of these things because, similarly speaking, once you start to get to, there was a chess master that Joe Rogan had on his show that had pivoted into foiling, which is a derivative of surfing.
Foiling? Foiling is, to me, is sword fighting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's
saber, the small, the foil, the long, skinny. Yeah.
But this was a guy who had played against the Magnus Carlsens of the world, and now he's becoming similarly accomplished in foiling.
Right.
And he said the interesting thing about the peaks of all these different arenas, you begin to realize how similar they all are. Mm-hmm. And that I feel the same way about what we do in fast food, or what we do as leaders, what we do as fathers, what we do as, I talk about this, I talk about in the book, writing and sprinting, so similar. You've got to let go. You've got to flow. If you try too hard, it's going to suck on the page. If you try too hard, you're going to be slow on the track. Like there's so many different things that just interweave and interchange with one another. And like I said, I think that's goes against, it's almost taboo, which you'll hear most, for lack of a better word, personal development podcasts talk about. They'll talk about going all in on one thing. Work-life balance is a myth. You can't have that, and all these things. And I think that's not the wrong message, but maybe there's an audience that isn't looking for that message,
Right.
and hopefully we're the one, and hopefully we tap into that audience that's like, okay, whoa, I can be more than one thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, Artistic Warrior and the book, The Way. What would you define as the target audience, or who is your target demographic?
Well, I think, I mean, I would say that it's, I mean, from the surface level, some of the low-hanging fruit, so to speak,
Sure.
would be those men who are both athletic but they also have an artistic side to them.
Mhm.
And it's sort of like this yin and yang sides of themselves, where maybe they feel a little guilty with pursuing one in concordance with the other, because it's sort of a weird split life to live, and I can speak to that personally. I mean, I'm a 6'2", 245-pound professional football player who also runs track and field, but I also happen to be a champion public speaker and an author. Like, it's kind of this,
And a QSR leader.
and a QSR leader, and it's sort of weird. And I don't think that there's a tribe for that type of guy out there.
I mean, you model. So, I mean, you kind of model what we talk about a lot in terms of the Renaissance man, the jack of all trades kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
So would you, I mean, I think that, especially in marketing, or, when you're writing a book or anything,
Mm-hmm.
you have a target audience in mind.
Mm-hmm.
You do have a demographic in mind. I would say myself personally, I'm probably outside of your demographic. However, I benefited from your book. So yeah, there is a strong target audience, but that doesn't preclude someone outside of that target audience to gaining some benefit.
Mm-mm.
So what does someone who goes all in on Artistic Warrior, what do you hope to see them achieve, I guess, out of their life? What do you hope to be able to impart to someone through this podcast, through, just one-on-one conversations that you have in your Toastmaster speeches and those kind of things? I know you have set topics there, but what do you hope someone gleans out of this?
That it's okay for them to be different, that it's okay for them to have multiple pursuits.
Mhm.
I think, again, going back to other personal development podcasts and shows and titans in their respective industries, they'll tell you that they went all in on one thing.
Right.
And that balance is not to be strived for. In fact, it could be self-sabotage when I'm arguing just the opposite.
Right.
I mean, my wife will tell you that when there are days that go by, it doesn't take very long, maybe 2 or 3 days that go by when I'm not writing, and she notices I get like cognitively constipated, because writing for me is a form of thinking.
Right.
And if I'm not thinking, then I'm getting all these, it's just, my mind is just a storm. Same thing could be said when I'm not working out. If I'm not working out and taking care of myself, well, then I'm going to get antsy and irritable and all sorts of things. And even when I go too long, if I'm being honest with myself, and even when I go too long without working, then I also get anxious, because as much as we all love vacation time, I think too much of it can be a bad thing, because you need problems. You need things to contend with.
Guys, especially.
Yeah.
Guys like to problem solve.
Yeah.
That I think that's one of the things that I had to learn early in my marriage. And this is our 40th year. And one of the things that I had to learn early is that if my wife came to me with an issue or a problem, she may not have been looking for me to solve it.
Right.
She may just have been looking for me to hear her out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to solve it. I'm going to call this person. She's like, just listen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And because I think men naturally are problem solvers.
Yeah.
So artistic, and you talk about your artistic as writing.
Mm-hmm.
Question on that is, do you think it's important for every guy to have an artistic outlet?
Yep.
Artistic outlet doesn't necessarily mean writing.
Nope.
Okay. Define some artistic outlets, and then
painting, singing, sculpting,
gardening,
potentially gardening. I mean, let's just
landscaping.
Let's just go to the book.
Yeah.
What do I define?
Because I think there are artistic outlets that I think there are things that are artistic that guys do that maybe aren't necessarily the stereotypical definition of artistic.
Yeah.
Right. I'm in my garage working on the engine to get it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That could be artistic.
Oh, yeah. Artistic Warriors Part 1. I think there's a large group of men who've been orphaned in the personal development space. I call them artistic warriors. These guys are those creative alpha males who enjoy building their bodies like Michelangelo's God in Adam as much as they do painting it. They have strong work ethics and a childlike sense of play. These dudes aren't afraid to lace up their boots and get after it, and they're not ashamed to kick their feet up after a long day on the job and play Destiny on Xbox. These men are writers, singers, entrepreneurs, painters, and the like. They're also athletes, bodybuilders, and health nuts. The only problem is what tribe or group exists for them. To the best of my knowledge, there isn't one. Mm-hmm. Most personal development gurus and performance coaches I've listened to are either on one end of the spectrum, macho and money focused, or the other, artsy fartsy or hyper philosophical, with a gap between the two. A gaping wound that's bleeding out the potential integration of both alpha and artist. It's no wonder why artistic warriors feel orphaned, because they are. And I think, though I have no way of proving this, some artistic warriors have never had their after the wilderness epiphanal moment like Stephen Pressfield's Writing Wednesday email. You'd have to buy the book to pick up what I'm laying down there. They're doomed to default and slaves to self-sabotage for the rest of their lives. As bad as it sounds, the good news is the reverse is also true. If those guys find their tribe, and I'm biased, of course, I don't think there is a more ready and willing man to help today's self-sabotaging man than the artistic warrior. They've stared into the abyss. They know the darkness all too well, which makes the dark scared of them, not the other way around. They're strong and silver-tongued, intense and intelligent, creative and conscientious. They can make money and move mountains. They can build things. They can break things. They see things differently, which is why they also make great CEOs. They're orphans who've made it out of the wilderness. They're artistic warriors, and they know the way out of self-sabotage into self-mastery. So they have range.
Mm-hmm.
They have range.
Well, that goes back to the Renaissance man, the jack of all trades, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we talked about a little bit of this on last time. We were talking about the difference between generalists and specialists, but they're really specialists who've generalized.
Expand and expound.
They're not generalists. They're specialists in multiple things. Mm-hmm. And that gives them tremendous range. And it gives them a lot of ammunition to empathize with a bunch of different people.
Which we talk about empathy is a skill set, a trait that leaders have to have.
Yeah. I mean, yes. And that goes back to what we talked about before in terms of some of my copywriting background. When writing a piece of copy, you're trying to get somebody to buy what you're selling. At some point, you have to position yourself as the guide, and a guide does two things: they establish empathy and demonstrate authority or competency on the subject. Well, the more that you can do that with these different areas of expertise, the more the world opens up to you, right?
So I'm going to bring up a verse here that that I've been pondering on a lot, and so I can't quote it verbatim, but it's Ecclesiastes 10:10. The dull axe, the dull axe requires more strength to split the wood than a sharp axe does. So sharpen the axe, kind of thing. You know, I think there's a tremendous amount of wisdom in that. But how do you foresee, or how do you see the artistic warrior mentality sharpening that dull axe so it takes less strength to lead?
Can you rephrase the question?
So Ecclesiastes 10:10 says a dull axe requires more strength.
Okay.
Where a sharp axe obviously requires less strength, or so I mean, I think that God is saying to us that you need to sharpen the axe, you need to sharpen your skill set, you need to sharpen your knowledge. And so what I'm wondering is, we talk a lot, you talk about artistic warrior, you talk about finding that artistic bent. How does that artistic bent help sharpen your axe in other areas of your life? So, I'm let's say that my artistic bent is landscaping and gardening. How can that then benefit me in other areas of my life? Your artistic bent obviously is writing. How does that benefit you in other areas of your life? How does that benefit you in being a leader in the QSR industry? How does that benefit you being a husband? How does that benefit you as a father? How does that benefit you as a witness?
Analogies and metaphors that you can pull from it when you're getting dirt underneath your fingernails and all of those things. I mean, how many times have I told you that facts tell and stories sell? It's no different. I can pull so many different things from my experiences on the track, or when I'm behind a page and the cursor is blinking at me, mocking me, and things like that. I mean, there are so many times where I've talked about us needing to slow down so we can speed up, whether particularly in business, and like things that I've said before to my direct reports. I just said, do you think that there are two sprinters on the track? One of them takes his time to set his starting blocks, but the other person just gets down on a 4-point, kind of throws him down there. And then which one do you think has a better chance of winning that race? Obviously, the guy who's taken the time to set his starting blocks. I know that because I've done that. And it's true. It's right. So, or like anything, or like, right, speed being a factor in QSR, speed being a factor in football or any sport for that matter. It's like, hey guys, speed kills. This is the reason why, right? You see it across sports in general. Getting there first matters. Getting the bag out the window in 3 minutes and 45 seconds matters, which is why we're going to chase speed and only speed for the time being, because that's the tide that raises all ships,
Right.
As is the case in any athletic endeavor. And
well, I know that when I've called you on the phone before to ask you about, hey, grandkids are really interested in sport A. And your advice always has been, at that age level, get them in multiple sports. Don't specialize, generalize. And that goes back to the Renaissance jack of all trades kind of things at that age level.
Yeah, you're making my point for me, because I am an expert in return to play, and I made a name for myself during my time in the strength and conditioning industry by putting myself in position to literally have lunch with Buddy Morris, the head strength coach of the Arizona Cardinals, when I
Right.
lived in Arizona.
Right.
And if I hadn't put myself in that position, I wouldn't have gleaned things that he told me, like, hey, the CNS is malleable like a ball of clay. And between the ages of 7 and 9 for boys, 6 to 8 for girls, and 11 to 13 for boys, and 12 to 14 for girls are windows of opportunity. And during those windows of opportunity, you need to expose them to as much stimulus as possible, athletically speaking, with the preeminent one being speed.
Speed.
It's like, right? So you're making my point for me right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
and so, I called you a month or so ago and said, hey, my grandsons are looking at this and they're going to go all in on this sport.
Yeah.
And you're like, no.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah.
And you're like, no, do multiple sports and they were right in that window of age that you.
Oh yeah, because I went all in on one sport when I was in high school. I only did football.
Right.
Only did football, and then I just trained year round, lifted weights, and yeah, I was good enough to get a scholarship to play in college, but I was solid, but not spectacular in college, and I attribute that back to my lack of generalization and exposing myself to a lot of different sports and not running track. But then wait, what happened? Oh, when I was 27, I decided to start sprinting.
Mm-hmm.
And then 8 years later, after having sprinted for 8 years, now all of a sudden I'm a better football player than I was in college.
Right.
At 35 years old.
I mean, do you feel you're better now than you were in college?
I know I'm better now.
Right.
I know I'm better now.
I mean,
not only because of the the physical feats that you're able to perform from just being faster, but also
mentally.
Yes, because when you sprint, you're asking your brain to fire and wire at speeds that it has never operated at before. The best analogy I can come up with is it's like when your phone has a pending update and you're not updating it. It's kind of chunky and it's not as crisp and smooth from page to page. And then when you update the damn thing, then it's bang, bang, bang. That's the same thing that's happening with your brain when you expose it to max velocity. Is you're literally updating your wiring. And so the game, now that I'm way faster than I've ever been, the game appears much slower to me because it is. Right? Football is a relatively very slow game. Right? I can run 22 miles an hour. I'm never, ever going to hit 22 miles an hour when we're playing football in a phone booth in arena football. Yeah. You don't have you don't have the distance to get up to that speed. So all of those things. So if I'm operating at 10 miles an hour or less for the majority of the game, that's less than half of my max velocity. So the game is way slower for me. It's like, okay, it's right. I mean, does that make sense? So it is the tide that raises all ships, not only athletically, in QSR, right? Or writing.
Any leadership position.
Yeah.
So let's expand more on the leadership thing and the artistic side of leadership. You and the jack of all trades. How do you see the Renaissance man, the jack of all trades guy, the artistic warrior guy? How does that translate into becoming or being a great leader in industry? And I don't want to limit it to QSR, but how, in commerce and industry, how does becoming a jack of all trades guy, artistic, delving into the artistic side of being a warrior, how does that translate to benefit? What can I glean? What skills will I develop to become a great leader?
Well, how many of your people are interested in one thing and only one thing? A lot of the people that work with and for you come from all different walks of life. And the more stimuli that you expose yourself to, and the more range that you have, well, that gives you more chances to connect and empathize because you've been through so many different walks of life with them. And that's that's why I'm so grateful for the darkness that I was in for 20 years, because I can talk to all the people that work with me about drug use,
Hmm.
about womanizing, about being broke, about having one car, about tattoos, about sprinting, about anything,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I think it gives
So
you way more chance to connect.
do you think that then a great leader is kind of a trivial pursuit expert? You know, in a way.
In a way,
I know a little bit about this, like,
I know a little about a lot versus I know a lot about a
right,
little.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
I know a little about a lot, so I can then communicate, I can start a conversation with someone. If they start going really deep, I'm going to say, hey, this is my surface knowledge that I know about that issue,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
but immediately there's a connection forming,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Hey, David knows about, I have this breed of dog. David knows about that kind of breed of dog.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I have, whatever. I know enough about football to have a conversation with you. But then when you start going really deep, then I'm like, hey, but at least there's that connection.
Yeah, but it's
So you think the jack of all trades thing, and I'm paraphrasing your words, but the jack of all trades thing, the Renaissance man, the artistic warrior who knows a little about a lot, has the ability then to form connections quickly with his team.
yep, and it makes you more interesting.
Right.
But that's not that. I would never give that as advice. I would say that if you want to be interesting, then be interested.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Take an interest in your people, and they will find you incredibly interesting. But what the point that I was making is that it opened. I mean, look at the article that came out on me just a couple
Right.
days ago.
Right.
It's like Iron Man fans might not know this about this guy.
Oh, right. So there
right?
were 6, 7, 8 points that they in that article pointed out. Someone, probably no one is going to connect on all 8 or 9 points.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I'm connecting with him on this point.
Mm-hmm.
Or and that I think that's the same thing with leadership,
Yeah.
is that I can connect with my leader on this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have that connection. So then I'm able to lead them more, even if I have to, we're going to have a difficult conversation, but we've connected on this. We're going to have, it's easier, I think, than to have those difficult conversations, those kind conversations.
Yeah. And another byproduct of being a jack of all trades is that just lost my train of thought. We were talking about it opening more doors for you. We were talking about being able to connect with others, having more opportunities to do that. Oh, it's inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
It's inspiration because if you can do it, and you're made of flesh and blood just like I am, well, then why can't I do it? Why be all you can be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am not going to act holier than thou and say that's why I do it, to be an inspiration. That's a byproduct. I'm generally interested in doing all the things that I'm doing. So
Right.
I like learning about leadership, love writing, love training, love playing football, love sprinting, love giving speeches, right? So I'm generally interested in doing all those things.
Yeah, I mean, I love learning and talking about leadership.
And being a quiet luxury sommelier.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's my artistic side.
Yes. It's a damn good one.
But I mean,
Talk
I
about
do.
a niche.
But I do. I love studying leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Even the people that might not necessarily be defined as, they're not the Winston Churchills of the world, or those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
The the small QSR operator, or the guy that has a bookstore, and he's got 3 employees, but he leads those people. I like even the unsung leaders. I like learning about them.
Yeah. The one dichotomy of being all you can be and a jack of all trades is that I've experienced this, is that people think these things come naturally to you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Hunter, we're going to have a meeting 2 days from now. Do you think you can give a 30-minute keynote speech? Yeah, but now I'm going home.
Yeah.
To practice that.
I mean, we don't, when we sit down like this, what is your saying that you say something about preparation and failure, and you talk about that a lot when you're going to speak.
Failure to prepare is preparing to fail.
Yeah, I was going to say you have a little bumper sticker on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, these are off the cuff kind of thing, conversations. It's Hunter and David just, BSing.
Mm-hmm.
But we do think about it beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah, we do think.
So there is a little bit of preparation, but and I think preparation is important. And like you said, you're going, hey.
But yeah,
no speech that you give is necessarily off the cuff.
No, unless it's a tabletop expression of a Toastmasters meeting.
Right.
But
that's a competition, so it's
that's the whole gig.
Right.
Is that it's what's the word? Extemporaneous.
Yeah.
But
off the cuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the one drawback of being a jack of all trades is people see you as a specialist in so many different areas that they do think it comes naturally to you. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not nature. It's nurture.
There's a lot of preparation.
Yeah.
I can talk with, I have a surface level knowledge about the medical industry. So I went to school for pre-med. I dissected a few bodies.
Yeah.
But I have a sister who's a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And, her and I can kind of talk surface level, but she's real deep. She's got a deep taproot in that thing, I can talk a little bit surface level about mental health. And I know some of the jargon and some of the techniques, but I have a sister who's a psychologist. She's got a deep taproot. So it's like, I can talk with her about it, and that's the same thing with you, I know a little bit about sports and football and that kind of thing, but I never played. So we can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But you have the deep taproot.
Yeah. I mean, that was one thing that the journalist, Steve Gunn, thank you for the opportunity if you're listening. That was one thing that he was sort of shocked by. He said, and I'm assuming that you were all state in high school, all GLIAC in college. No.
Yeah.
Nope. And the only reason why you see me doing what I'm doing now for the Army is because I spent 8 years of my life with the sole pursuit of just getting faster. I sprinted for 8 years. 8 years. I mean, that's 2 Olympic cycles, right?
Yeah.
It's a long time. It's like, and now the only thing that you're seeing now is just the benefits of that, because speed is the tide that raises all ships. And so it's helped my reaction time. It's helped my change of direction. It's helped my resiliency. It's helped my conditioning. And I don't take offense to it when people think that these things come naturally to me. Like, oh man, Hunter, you just gave that speech off the dome, bro. It's like, no, I didn't. I spent the past 20 hours doing it because I got a 48 hour notice to do it. Right?
And I've also developed my public speaking, and you talk about this a lot. I developed my public speaking skills through Toastmasters, and you recommend Toastmasters.
I recommend Toastmasters, especially if you're a leader, because that's what leaders do. Is they can speak. They can bring the imagination of the. What did I say last time? They have articulation of the imagination of the population.
Right.
And that's really what I think. I don't know who told me this, David, but a CEO is basically a public speaker.
Sure.
Well, they set the vision. That's how we're going to get there.
The CEO is the face.
Yeah.
The COO is the operator. Like the chairman of the board. Then you have the president. There's.
But the dude who just took over Wendy's, he's got the gig.
Yeah.
Now we're getting a little bit of the fast food stuff, right? So the new CEO of Wendy's, I think it's Wendy's. He's the president and the COO.
Oh,
Talk about a gig.
That's-
So he gets to execute his own vision
yeah.
instead of executing the CEO's vision. That's the move right there.
Yeah, I think it depends on who you are. You
Yeah.
know, it depends on who you are. You know,
Mhm.
I've known people that, I mean, I have a friend that he is a phenomenal visionary,
Yeah.
but he can't execute for crap. But his visions are phenomenal. He needs to partner with someone who can execute
Mm-hmm.
because he can't not execute.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but he also needs to partner with someone who can push back and
Mhm.
say, "Great vision doesn't work in real life."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm that way. It's one thing I'm being forced to work on as my store is moving towards its train store certification because you know how much I love about majoring in the minors.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it.
I know.
I hate it. When it comes to HR audits and loss prevention audits and all of these things, it's like, listen, like we're 100% on our metrics. Who cares, right? But it's that's me recognizing my own weaknesses. I am not a dot the I and cross the T type of guy. We're 100.
But then you need someone to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard me talk a lot about my partner. I don't know. Did you ever have an opportunity to meet him? You met his kids, but you never met my partner, right? So I talk the execution, there were the visionary and the executioner. Executioner, not cut off heads. The guy who can execute.
The integrator.
Yeah, integrator. I like that word.
Mhm.
So, but we played those roles. But sometimes I was the visionary and he was the integrator.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he was the visionary and I was the integrator.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that you're not necessarily totally stuck in that role. You know, because there were times where
Are you saying that you can be all you can be?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but I'm bringing this back home with you. There were times when we worked together,
Yeah.
where I would have a vision, tell you it, you executed it.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter, my vision for this location is an X% food cost,
Mm-hmm.
and you executed it. So
Yes,
I
and,
mean,
yes, but let's get a little bit deeper on that.
okay,
Yeah, so you had a vision, said, "Hey, Hunter, we need to get this particular district to less than 30% food cost." Got it. Went and had a meeting with the managers there. Hey, we need to get this food cost below 30%. You guys figure it out.
but those,
So it's like I somewhat did, but it's almost like, does that make sense? It's like I don't feel like I was the one really doing it. Was almost like a visionary A, you, visionary B, me. And then, does that make sense?
yeah, you still executed it. How you executed it, I didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you still were the executor.
Mm-hmm.
I could have gone to those people and said, probably wouldn't have had the same impact,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Hunter, this location over here, let's work on customer service.
Yeah.
That's the vision.
Mm-hmm.
You
And I
ex-
still remember, I was just thinking about this last night when I was taking my boots off. I don't know why that popped into my head, but one particular location that I know you're talking about in terms of customer service, you and I had a meeting there shortly after. It might have been a week or two afterwards, and we had a meeting there, and we were doing some paperwork. And the sandwich artist behind the line had a bit of like a line that was 2 or 3 deep. And she said, "Do you guys want a cookie while you're waiting?" And you just said, "Very good."
Yeah.
That impressed me.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And that's probably something that you had trained them and told them to
Oh,
do.
my district knew that we just
Right.
called it the cookie trick.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
But, so you executed the vision. So I think that there are times where people are visionaries And I think there are times where people are integrators
Mm-hmm.
or can execute.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that be all you can be. I don't think that you necessarily as a leader are stuck in one role. I am the leader. I am the visionary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe you are 80% of the time, but 20% of the time you might have to execute someone else's vision.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay as a leader to do that,
Right.
you know? And you may be an integrator, someone who executes other people's visions. Great, that's good. That's a great gift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but there may be times, you know, maybe 80% of the time you're executing someone else's vision, but 20% of the time you have to be the visionary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that comes back full circle to the jack of all trades thing.
Yeah.
So a great leader has to be able to do both. No?
Well, I mean, like that's part and parcel of what we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah. Not siloing yourself into one role or job or task,
Mm-hmm.
right? Makes you more well-rounded, makes you able to connect.
Yeah, but like when you say I hate crossing the T's and dotting the I's, you say that.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, there were things in that I had to do that I didn't like doing.
Mm-hmm.
Still needed to do them.
Right. And if this means, it's like, so.
But you know that you don't enjoy that. You don't, I mean, we go back to good leaders and, you know, that I use that acronym.
Mm-hmm.
And the S in the acronym is self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And self-awareness means knowing your strengths and your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not, because,
No, but
I'm not advocating that we simply only do what we want.
No, right.
Yeah.
Right. No.
In fact, if anything,
I think great leaders do the hard things first.
I think.
And do the things they like after. Do the things you hate first, and then do the things you like second. Because if you do it in the reverse, the things you hate never get done.
Yeah, I mean, what you're sort of alluding to without even knowing it is talking about the passion mindset versus the craftsman mindset, which Cal Newport talks about in his book, So Good They Can't Ignore You. And the passion mindset is just doing that which sets your soul on fire, but the craftsman mindset is developing that set of skills and having some range, being all you can be. And then the more that you open yourself up to all of these different opportunities and get good at them, well, then you become so good you can't be ignored.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
then that's the only reason why I was able to do what I did after getting into the fast food industry, is because I just tried to. It's like, well, I'm stuck here, so I might as well get really fucking good at it. And it was only after that that the things that I was passionate about.
I take a little. I take a little bit of
what?
I'm stuck here.
You're stuck here.
No, you said. Well, I'm stuck here.
Well, I mean, because how many times have I tried to get out of it since I've been in it?
I understand that. You know, so yeah, I mean, we come from two different mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in that I want to say, I kind of say I fell into it, but I embraced it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and obviously we're looking at what 3 years of QSR.
It'll be 3 in September
versus 30 some years of
mm-hmm.
QSR,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
37. No, it's more now. Well, if I don't count, if I keep, the retirement side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we opened up the first store when my daughter, who is 39 in 3 weeks, she was a year old.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was pregnant for our second daughter. That's when we opened the first store. So,
but you can't limit yourself to QSR anymore because you're a jack of all trades, quiet luxury sommelier,
yeah,
artistic warrior, among other things.
It's. I think another thing that's important for
the reason why I'm calling David a quiet luxury sommelier is because this guy is so good that he was taking a few gents suit shopping yesterday.
Well, they called me to ask me to go.
Yes, they called him. And they walked into Joseph A. Bank.
Yeah, because that was their budget.
Yeah, and the tailor came out and they was asking him about sizing, and David just looked at one of the gentlemen head to toe and said, "Yeah, he's a 42 long." And then the tailor did his thing. He said, "He's a 42 long." Quiet luxury sommelier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you need a suit,
So that's my artistic side, right?
I think it could be.
Yeah.
I think it's. I mean, because I said that's
I like
such a
nice
niche.
clothes.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I like nice clothes.
Yeah.
That's my artistic side.
Mm-hmm.
But so I mean, I really like this concept, and I think that artistic warrior kind of is. And correct me if I'm wrong. I really like this jack of all trades, Renaissance man kind of
Aspirational identity.
yeah, applying it to leadership. You know, I
Yeah.
think that's kind of a cool. I'm going to think about that a lot. And I'm going to evaluate some people that I know that I think are great leaders,
Mm-hmm.
even historically, or people that I know personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna evaluate them with that mindset of: are they a jack of all trades? Are they an artistic warrior? Do they have that in them? And I'll bet you the answer is going to be that probably a very high percentage of the people that I identify as leaders
Mm-hmm.
are that.
Do you?
I think so.
I would argue the opposite.
Do you?
Yeah.
No, the ones that are great leaders. I think the ones that are great leaders,
Yeah.
if I look at them and say, okay, I want to take this measurement,
Mm-hmm.
and the measurement that I'm going to take when I look at you is, are you an artistic warrior? Are you a jack of all trades?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll find that a lot of them have multiple outlets. You know, Winston Churchill, prime example, you know.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill was a painter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what he did. This guy was one of the greatest leaders that, brought us through World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal leader. He was an artistic warrior. He painted, he painted landscapes,
Regardless of how you feel about him, if we're talking about strictly definitionally,
yeah.
if that's a word, in terms of who great leaders are, you know who else is a really good painter? Hitler.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
leader,
Yeah, I mean,
morality aside,
right.
he got people to follow him.
Unfortunately, I think that's charisma.
But to your point,
But yeah, so I want to. Do you see artistic warrior? And I guess I'm putting. I don't want to say what your mission is or your mission statement is for artistic warrior, but I can see the fruits of someone that you mentor or talk to or go through, any programs that you may set up as an artistic warrior. Visit his website. You're actually developing leaders.
I never thought about it that way, but you might be right.
But you talked about, the demographics of it, and it's that guy, and you read off the definition,
Mm-hmm.
and I know one of the things you're targeting is fathers and men,
Mm-hmm.
the alpha male, but also the father, those kind of things. I think that you're developing leaders, and they may not necessarily be leaders in industry or commerce or QSR. They may be leaders in their home. They may be leaders of their children as positive examples, great leaders to their wives, great leaders in their churches, great leaders in their communities, or quiet leaders,
Mm-hmm.
And I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but
No, I don't think
that.
you're wrong. I think you hit it on the head a little bit there, and I wasn't thinking about that in terms of indirectly developing leaders. One thing that is an axiom for anybody trying to make the NFL, for example, you know what it is? The more you can do.
The more you can do.
In terms of being versatile, like okay, this guy's a hell of an edge rusher with his hand in the dirt, but can you do it standing up?
Okay.
Can he also play if he's a great Sam linebacker? Can he also play Will? Can he also play special teams? Can he long snap? Right. Like, so like the more you can do,
Right.
the better the chance you have of making an NFL squad.
Even
right?
though you may, even though you may be recruited as a defensive end or whatever,
Yeah.
but this guy can really throw the ball. He can kick the ball. He can do this. He can,
The more you can do, be
So
all you can be.
think about this is more for you because I think about leaders in that in more historical, but some great athlete examples that were more generalists than specialists, even though they became a great athlete in one certain sport.
Mhm.
But they were really kind of broad in their athletic ability.
Justin Gatlin, I think, had a tryout with the Texans. Justin Gatlin's a sprinter.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I mean,
but the reason why you got to try with the Houston Texans is because, hey, speed matters.
Okay.
Right.
My sports knowledge is an inch deep. Yours is a taproot.
Mhm.
So my first example was Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
This guy
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, this guy made a name in basketball, right?
Mhm.
He's a great baseball player too.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, in high school he played multiple sports. I mean, he didn't even make the basketball team in high
Right.
school, right?
Mhm.
Deion Sanders, another good example. But
Bo Jackson.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So even though they may have specialized in one particular sport, or that's where they gained their fame, they actually were kind of generalists in athletics in general, right?
Yeah. Some of when you said the word mission, I don't know what it is yet. I haven't articulated it yet. But but one thing that I've always found myself saying to my wife is, honey, do you know why I do everything that I do? And part of that's obviously for the love of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want Sam to be proud of me.
Oh, sure.
Is that the mission for this? To have men, or to have the sons of the men that we're touching be proud of them? I don't know, but
you may be working with a man, a father,
mm-hmm.
but you're impacting the children. You're impacting the wife. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a little deep, and I know you've talked about it in your book a little bit, but can you point to one instant in your life that set you on this course, or you look back at your life and say, this was the point that happened in my life that culminated in Artistic Warrior, or that's culminating in Artistic Warrior?
There are so many.
I know there are a lot. I just want one.
The one that first came to my mind was after I won the 2017 Fall Open, which was an APF meet, American Powerlifting Federation.
American
Powerlifting Federation.
Okay.
That was October 7th of 2017. I won Best Lifter of the Day. I benched 468, squatted 562, and deadlifted 617. And I was close to 300 pounds. And I went into the men's room afterwards, and I had chalk all over me. My nose was bleeding from this sheer exertion.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just so disappointed because at that time I owned a gym that was close to 100 athletes. And we made our claim that we are the speed authority in West Michigan.
And you were 300 pounds.
Yeah. And so I quit my powerlifting career that day. I still remember it. I remember walking to the parking garage and Facebook messaging Derek Hansen, who, if you don't know Derek was mentored by Charlie Francis, and Charlie was, without a doubt, the greatest sprint coach to ever live, Charlie coached Ben Johnson when Ben ran
Oh, wow.
when Ben ran 9.79 in the I think the '88 Olympics.
Yeah, was it 88? Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was Derek's mentor. And I just texted Derek because he and I developed a relationship after I'd seen him give a speech in Indianapolis in 2016. I said, Derek, I need your help. If I want to coach these kids, I actually need to be doing it so I can, what's the word that we've been saying? Empathize with them, right? And that was a big turning point for me because sprinting ripped my body apart the first year and a half that I did it. Pectineus injuries, calves, soleuses, hamstrings, groins, pec, Achilles.
So your gym, and you said you had 100 athletes.
Mm-hmm.
You were mainly focused on like high school soccer players, right?
Middle school girl soccer players.
Middle school girls soccer players.
In fact, when I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine, his name is Brandon Kelly, BK, as I call him. He owns a gym in Joliet. We were talking on the phone one day, and I was talking about my business model and how we do things, and he just was able to zoom out and he said, so your business basically revolves around a 5 p.m. middle school class. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that you're right, it does. I mean, our middle school class was 30 kids every day, all middle school girls soccer players.
So that was the bulk core of your business. I
Yeah,
mean,
we had the Michigan Fire and Midwest United, two huge clubs like that, right?
ASO clubs?
I don't know the acronym. What does that mean? I mean, they're club teams.
AYSO, American Youth Soccer Organization.
Oh.
Yeah, those are club teams.
Yeah.
AYSO.
So I mean, Michigan Fire wasn't there. Michigan Fire, I think, is bigger than Midwest United, but Midwest United was more upper echelon.
I think they're both ASO clubs. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, so we developed our entire business around a 5 p.m. class, which was just chock full of middle school girls, and all they wanted to do was get faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started doing it so I could be better for them. And then all of a sudden, as I was documenting my physical transformation from powerlifter to sprinter, then people are starting to pay attention to me. And then I run a meet in February of 2019 at an NCAA meet, running the 60-meter dash, and I didn't take last. Then that I literally became an expert overnight, like that, right? But people didn't see people didn't see the 15 months of work that went up into that moment before then. But when I ran that meet and I didn't take last, meaning I actually beat some college kids.
Was this pre or post you strength coaching the Arizona? Was it the Razorbacks?
That was pre. So this was February of 19. I was the head strength coach for the Arizona Rattlers in the summer.
Rattlers. Okay.
Yeah, in the summer of 21.
Okay.
Yep.
But you were strength coach then. You weren't sprinting. You weren't teaching them speed. You were teaching them strength then.
Which the Rattlers? Or
the Rattlers.
Well, the Rattlers, yes. I mean, but when Coach Kevin Guy, KJ, as we called him, he asked me what my philosophy was, and I just said it's going to be speed. Okay. Coach, we're gonna build this thing around speed.
So you were the strength coach, but you were.
It
was all about speed.
We lifted weights.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but our main thing was speed.
Okay.
And we actually had the least amount of soft tissue injuries in the entire league.
Wow.
For that I can only attribute it to the dedication that we had to speed. Because it is the most violent thing the human body can do. From a motor unit activation standpoint, maximal effort, squats, deadlifts don't come anywhere near the amount of force that you put into the ground when you're sprinting, which is upwards of 5 times your body weight. Mm-hmm. Right? So if a 300-pound dude is sprinting at full speed in one stride at full speed, he's putting 1,500 pounds of force into the ground. Mm-hmm. That's almost 3x more than he's ever going to have on a bar on his back while squatting. So, I mean, when you talk about it from a force production standpoint, lifting is, if anything, it's just a maintenance factor. It's not even about making you more resilient. Mm-hmm. But now I'm getting tangential.
We're getting off.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Well, what do you mean? Be all you can be, right? We have a breadth of things that we can talk about. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think, without putting words in your mouth, I think an artistic warrior and that focus that you have on that You're developing leaders,
Maybe we'll see.
you know.
We'll see.
And, you know, and it may not be, you know, the next, you know, great leader in industry, but it, you know, it's a guy leading his house.
Hmm.
You know, it's a guy, you know, the guy in the neighborhood that all the other neighbors come to.
Hmm.
You know, he's the leader of the neighborhood, or he's the leader of at work, you know, among his peers, or he's, yeah,
The more you can do,
right.
be all you can be. And so with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. David mentioned my website. It's live, hunterscharneski.com. There you can get a copy of this book. You can stay in touch with me, us, by filling out the form, getting on the email list. And we'll also have the link to this and future episodes at the bottom of that page as well. You got anything?
I like this.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, obviously, you know, my love is about leadership and leaders and that. And so, you know, we're not taking a hard right away from that.
Mm-mm.
You know, that's all I've got.
Yeah. If anything, that's part of it.
Very much so.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.